Hey, everybody out there. Thanks for tuning in. This is the second episodes of Blades Banter. Um, just came off a tremendous victory in Ann Arbor this week, 30-24. Um, had an unbelievable time going to the game. Going to catch up with my dad and see what he thought about it. Coach Thornblade, tell me what you thought of 2023 victory by Michigan Wolverines on Saturday.
I thought it was a classic struggle, an unbelievable competition. I think the Ohio State kids acquitted themselves in a fine fashion. Game could have went any way. And although the Ohio State people are devastated, and I think they're taking it a little too hard. Now, I know there's everything on the line, and a year from now, college football changes because both teams, rightfully, will be in the college football playoff. Ohio State arguably has one of the best four teams in the country, but it doesn't appear the way things are looking right now that they'll make the college football playoffs. But I just felt like, they lost a turnover battle. We made some plays. We kicked well. Um, we were under a great deficit entering the game without our head coach. The kids and Coach Moore rose to the occasion. But it was a marvelous day for college football, and we've won three in a row. But these things ebb and flow, and my friends in Ohio are devastated. They're taking it too hard, and they have a great coach. That's a fine young quarterback who's evolving and developing. He made some great throws. Now he missed some, and I think the last play, the interception, his arm was hit. Will Johnson made an unbelievable play on the first interception. And that's going to happen when you're playing against gifted athletes there was a lot on that field, a lot in both scarlet and gray and maize and blue. So the Michigan people, of course, are elated. They feel some sense of vindication. I still contend that the elaborate scouting program they had, didn't yield any great advantage. I don't think it gives you any great advantage. Um, and certainly you can't quantify any advantage. And I'll say it again: in every major league sport, every high school sport, every sports all over the world, you scout your competitor, uh, your future opponent prior to the game. So just by virtue of that, you would believe that the best scouts have win the games, but it doesn't happen, and it's not
Absolutely.
reliable. It's not reliable information. Kirby Smart says that coaches have to coach off tendency, field position. They have elaborate reports on tendencies, lateral, horizontal field position, uh, hash mark, down and distance, all that stuff, and then all the things that happen prior
Well,
to the game,
Coach, as you know, as
prior to the play.
being a coach and calling a play. I mean, how many times did the play call change from the head coach to the offensive coordinator to the quarterback? The quarterback can see anything out there, and he can call his own play at the line of scrimmage. Most of these quarterbacks that are college top level quarterbacks, they're calling their plays at the line of scrimmage, Coach.
Well, they're going in there with a package.
Yeah,
I mean, here's a package. And, we're not might be an RPO, but it's going to be a package, a run, or there's a pass package. Run, pass, run, pass. Almost always you can check out to a pass if you see man coverage, and so that all happens prior to the game on the basis of the defense's alignment. The Mike backer, and then they're going to fake a blitz, and they're going to change a blitz, and the offense is going to run motion, which is going to cause the defense to do a check, change their coverage. It all happens, and then the ball snapped, and then it changes again because oftentimes they're going to stem the defensive stem or what we call they're disguising the coverage and they screw the coverage. So it all happens, it all happens on the field. And typically, it is decided on the field. There's five guys over there with different colored T-shirts, holding up different signs. Who knows who's live? Kirby, I'll repeat again. Kirby Smart says, "I did that one time. It's unreliable information. You cannot do it like that." So, but anyway, let's go back to the Ohio State Michigan game. Magnificent
well,
game.
yeah,
They just
Coach, couple things I wanted to point out. Like you said, we won the turnover battle. We won the rushing battle. Um, also, we we converted on fourth down.
The Ohio State people are critical of Coach Day. At the end of the half, he ran the clock down and tried a long field goal, and he missed. And that missed field goal, of course, was a decisive.
Well, but
Played a
he got
decisive
iced.
role.
He got
Well,
iced by
yeah, he actually kicked it through, but of course, by that time, Michigan had called. When he kicked it through, he was not under a rush.
yeah.
So it wasn't realistic. It was kicking in practice, and then they called timeout, and but then he missed it. It was a long field goal. It wasn't a field goal that you consistently make. It was a long one. Anyway, and people think he should have tried to move the ball downfield further, but anytime things don't go your way, when you win the game, you just go forward. You talk about the great plays that were made. When you lose the game, you analyze every single aspect of the game, and you go back and you parse it up and you cut it up and say this was a decisive factor. The truth is, the turnovers were different. We kicked very well. Our punter was outstanding, and he has been outstanding the last 2 or 3 games. I mean, devastating. He kicks the ball inside the 10, and they have to go the long way. And then we were able to we never sacked their quarterback, but we were able to put pressure on him with 4 and 5 people, which was important, which allowed us to cover, at least contain that most gifted receiver core in America. So led by one of the most gifted players in America, Harrison. And so it was a great game. It was a great contest. I don't know. I mean, everybody should be thrilled. And I know there can only be one winner, but this is the course of this rivalry. It goes like this. It ebbs and flows. And they're going to have to accept the fact out there that they're not going to win every game. And we accept that fact too. And then you go forward. There shouldn't be any finger pointing. They should stop it. They had a magnificent team. Coach Day is a tremendous coach. I mean, where are they going to get a better coach than that young guy? And they hired an assistant. He's learning. He's getting better all the time. What he's done is he has recruited on a very high level, and he's maintained the quality of recruiting that Urban Meyer had and Jim Trussell before that. They've recruited very well, and that it all starts with recruiting. And he's got the number 2 class in the country. I understand a lot of kids have indicated an interest in Michigan lately. And so both teams are going to be well stocked for many years. And when that happens, you're going to have closely contested games, and they're going to be fun to watch.
Yeah.
Now, it all changes next year. This game would the Big Ten championship is important, but it's going to start to be like basketball, where the regular season championship doesn't mean as much as how you do in the tournament.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, but because that was a big goal to win the Big Ten championship, and that is a tremendous accomplishment. It is not easily done, and we've won 44 of them, hopefully 45, and lead the league in that category. But it's difficult to do. But now, for instance, next year, the number 16, I think Iowa was just rated number 16, will be playing us next year. Let's say they're playing a year from now when the CFP has 12 teams. We'll be playing if they can beat us, or maybe even play well. If we're number 1 or 2 in the country, then they would probably move into the top 12 and have an opportunity to compete for the CFP. So there would be a lot on the line. As it is, Iowa at 16 has no chance of moving up. Only Ohio State, the 1-loss teams out there, Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, and Alabama. Those are the teams that have a chance. But if the teams that are playing in their conference championships, and that would be Georgia, Michigan, Washington, and Florida State, all win, then it's done.
Yeah.
If they win their conference championship. And even if Georgia loses to Alabama, Georgia will remain in. And if someone else gets nicked along the way or loses, maybe Florida State would lose to Louisville, then Alabama would probably move up. Uh, but there's a lot of scenarios going on there. The truth is, there's four undefeated teams, and if those four undefeated teams win out, then it's over. It's done. And then pairing will be then where they're rated at the end will be important. Of course, the first place team will get the fourth seed, and second and third will play. And so that may or may not be an advantage. Any undefeated team in college football right now has done a great job. And Iowa, with 10 victories, has done a magnificent job. So anytime you get 10 victories in college football, that's a great season, no matter how you add it up. That's a wonderful accomplishment. And any of those teams out there with 10 victories to their name, and there's a pretty good amount of them. That's been a wonderful season. Everybody wants to win every game, but it's not going to happen. There's parity out there. There's great competition. There's a lot of the kids can throw and catch now like they never have, and that's due to 7-on-7. And of course, high schools have opened up offenses, so the game is changing and progressing, getting better, in my opinion. Yeah. And but that Ohio State Michigan game was a magnificent game. Both sides should be commended because they both gave everything they had and played at a high level. And the game went down. It was 43 seconds left till the game was decided.
Yeah, I mean, not just saying it's great for the rivalry or great. It's just great for football in general to see a dogfight like that and then watch it, and it could come out either way. And obviously it worked out on our favor this time, but I mean, it was just a pleasure to watch all around. Watch both teams compete at a high level. It was awesome.
Everybody was on the edge of their seat. I mean, until Moore made that great interception and the quarterback had his arm hit, I believe.
So were you able to, have you heard, did you see Jim Harbaugh's press conference at all?
Yes, I did. And Jim was, I thought Jim did a wonderful job, recognizing the job his staff did, but also giving Sharon Moore a great amount of credit. And well deserved.
Well,
this is Jim Harbaugh's team. Make no mistake about it. He coaches it he coached during the week. He was just not there on Saturday to make perhaps some critical decisions, but he coached the team. This is his team. But because of the circumstances, Sharon Moore handled the on the field duties as head coach, and he's really an outstanding young coach.
Yeah.
And I think it's pretty. I think the assistant of the year is pretty much decided. Yeah. It's got to be him.
Oh my God!
I don't know. I don't know anybody else. They've awarded the coach at the Big Ten Coach of the Year is the coach at Northwestern. Now, he came into a difficult circumstance and was not the head coach till just prior to the beginning of the season, and he did a marvelous job. But he was assistant prior to that. But there's nobody else I can think of, no assistant that played such an integral role or an important role in the success of a team than Sharon Moore has.
Well, one thing that also stuck out to me in his press conference is just last game, I was giving you a hard time, or last time we talked, giving you a hard time about, being so respectful of Ohio State and talking about the coaches talking about each other. But Jim Harbaugh even said the media has hyped this thing up. That's the noise outside the locker room, that there's great respect between the programs, and that it was a great battle between, players and coaches last Saturday. So that was cool to hear.
I think that both coaches should laud each other. I think that Ryan Day, of course, wouldn't play in Columbus, should have stood up and said that was a great, great game, and Michigan did a wonderful job, but I'm proud of our kids for the effort they gave. Instead, he had to talk about they're devastated. He knows how much it means to everybody.
Well, he never said how much it means to him, though. He never said that.
Well, it means a lot to him. But, I mean, he's a wonderful young coach.
Oh.
And he's got look, you can't. I know people invest a lot, but you can't get too invested in it. You go forward. There's only going to be one team that wins, and every contest, particularly not that they have overtime, and so you got to accept that. And He played an away game in Michigan Stadium, but I know it's 3 in a row, and they think they should win every time they play down there, but that's not going to happen. Win a national championship, and that's not going to happen. There are teams that go on runs, and they have a group of players that sustain excellence over some period of time. But it usually doesn't last more than 3 or 4 or 5 years, and then it turns, and some other program rises up. And I mean, Clemson was a very dominant team, and now they've dropped a little bit. And of course Alabama has dropped one game, and so they're not as dominant as they were. And Georgia, of course, has had a great.
But Coach Ryan
and,
Day has only lost 4 other games besides the games to us, and they're in the college football playoff, or one game.
He's a wonderful.
It's unbelievable that it's been being.
They focus, maybe they focus too much on this game. Maybe it matters too much to them. Maybe if they approach it a little bit differently with a different psychology, we'll let it all hang out. We're going in there, and we're going to try to win. And they will. They're going to win. They're going to beat us. I mean, they're going to beat us sooner or later, and hopefully not sooner, but it's going to happen.
Hopefully a while.
And this thing evens up. Yeah, well, we're not going to have a long run like they had, and we had a long run, when Cooper was there. But those are. I think those are anomalies. You might have 2 or 3 victories in a row, but that's going to be very difficult to sustain. Now it changes. Now we're going to play Oregon, Washington, UCLA, USC. These are very tough teams and wonderful programs and with great players. So everything changes. So, and then the top 2 teams in 3 divisions will play for the championship. But if you only have 1 or 2 losses and you go through the schedules now as they're laid out for the Big Ten teams, you'll get in the 12-team playoff.
Well,
so we're heading towards a super conference, those super conferences that everybody's talked about. And the big programs that have NIL money, that recruit well, that have many of them have a tradition and a history, will probably be the teams that and historically, that's what's happened in college football. As long as there's a commitment at the university to do well, and they are able to bring all the resources that are required to have a top program, kids are going to be attracted to those schools. And then, of course, it's the portal coaching. I think you should have a portal coach. I would have a portal coach, be in charge of looking at the portal all the time. I'd have a coach looking at every pro football game, just to come up with ideas every week. And they have these big staffs and they can do that. And so you need a recruiting coordinator, you need a portal coach, and you also have a coach for player retention so they don't leave. And so there's a lot of things happening in college football. It's changing. That was a great competition, just a magnificent competition.
Yeah.
And anybody that doesn't see it that way, there can only be one winner. Unfortunately, but every kid on that field won because they all gave their very best. And ultimately, that's what it is. And it's usually, a couple mistakes here or there in that game are going to be the difference. And it was 2 turnovers probably that were the difference.
Yeah. Unbelievable game, unbelievable time Saturday. I got to go to the game. Was on the sidelines for pregame. It was just great experience. Got to see a lot of old friends.
Great atmosphere. Magnificent atmosphere. Yeah, it was a great Midwest day, but sun was out and it wasn't snowing. Yeah. So that was good.
And
that was good. And that game attracts a lot. Everybody wants to go. A lot of the old great players. Charles Woodson, of course, demonstrated his loyalty again. He runs around the field with the flag, and we love Charles. One of the greatest players that ever played.
It was great to see him put on the turnover buffs and get with the defense and take a picture.
Yeah, the turnover sunglasses. Yeah. So that's the kids have fun with that, and it should be fun. Games should be fun. I mean, let the kids have fun and let them revel in the victory and enjoy it. But we also pay respect to the great Ohio State program and the Ohio State coaches and the Ohio State players, and we don't. That should not be missed, and they should feel the same way. they're going to feel bad for a while, but they're going to get over it, and they're going to come out of it, and they're going to rebuild, and chances are the day is coming they're going to play for the national championship again soon.
Well, and they
I mean, that's Ohio State. They always have.
ebbs and flows, like you said. I mean, they had a long flow for them. I mean, the Troy Smith, Terrell Pryor, Dwayne Haskins, just the other two guys that are in the pros right now. They had a lot of quarterbacks.
Yeah, Barrett was a good
Barrett,
quarterback. He's
Justin
he's not a,
Fields,
not a
the guy at
not a pro
Chicago.
football. Well, the guy at Chicago, the kid down at Texas, is going to be potentially a player, rookie of the year, certainly,
CJ
and
Stroud,
maybe
yeah.
MVP.
So we got
And maybe MVP. But we got a guy that I think I'd go to war with that guy anytime.
absolutely,
That guy is special.
yeah,
That J.J. McCarthy is special. And that Corum boy, what a runner he is and what a player. But J.J. has been spectacular. My sense is he'll come out. It's a heavy quarterback draft, but anybody gets
oh,
him. I think Belichick would probably want to look at another Michigan quarterback, and that might be his guy. I'm telling you, that'd be interesting to see if that happened, because JJ's his kind of guy, and he can even run a little bit. And Tom, wasn't going to come out of the pocket, but he was great at the quarterback sneak, but nobody greater than Tom Brady, and no one will ever probably eclipse what Tom Brady has accomplished. But this JJ is a special guy and great leader. And the first thing he said after the game, Ohio State played great, and they did a great job. And there's great guys on that team. I know a lot of them, and they were great. It was a great game, great competition. So we have to try to we have to maintain that. We shouldn't hate the other team. We should look at them as
great
our
opponents.
competition and our opponents. We'll do everything we can to win, and we're going to work hard and do all those things within the rules. We're going to obey the rules, and then we're going to do our very best, and that's it. And that's how we're going to do it, and not hate the opponent. There's too much of that going on. You hate a guy if he thinks differently politically. If there's no dialogue, it's no good. And in sports, I don't want to get to that.
Absolutely.
I don't want to get to that. These rivalries should not be that. We should be reveling in the fact that these young guys are out there. These young men are playing at such a high level with the high level coaching, and the product and the performances are spectacular and wonderful to watch.
Yeah, just talking about that, they did honor the 2003 Michigan team who played in the 100th game at Michigan Stadium. John Navarre, Stevie Breston was freshman of the year, Big Ten player of the year. Chris Perry almost fourth in the Heisman race, I think.
Yeah, Chris Perry was a great runner for us. A lot of those great guys.
But Coach, after that was the last of that was our ebb, where we had about 20 years, maybe with one win sprinkled in there, that it was pretty tough for us. So
I call it the long maize and blue nightmare. we did not have the right leadership. We did not recruit well, and the program, we lost our way. And Jim Harbaugh has returned us to prominence, to his great credit, and through a lot of hard work. And I talked to you about his resume. Very few people have the resume he has as a player and a coach.
Now,
very few people in the history of the game.
Yeah.
In the history of the game, very few people have been the kind of player he was in college, the kind of professional player he was, the kind of coach he has been. Not too many people can check those boxes. So he's special guy.
Last thing I want to talk about the game, Coach, is back his press conference. He always says this. He said, "I'm not the person to anote or coin a Michigan man or a Michigan legend," but he talked about some Michigan legends that have already been on the team and that were created on Saturday. Are there any guys that stand out for you? I mean, I would say you could probably tell me a Michigan man from a mile away. So, any guys that just jumped off the field at you, Coach?
Well, Zach, of course, got that terrible injury.
Yeah.
He's been a great,
tough SOB
and a great player.
Yeah.
Oh, geez, and a great leader. You saw the kids. The entire team came out.
Yep.
The entire team came out, and that shows you the kind of feeling to have for that guy. And J.J. McCartney, he's a legend, one of the greatest players to ever play at Michigan. And same with Corum. Will Johnson is in the making,
Wow, what a
and
player! Yeah.
already maybe one of the most gifted defensive backs in the country. Although we're going to see maybe the best defensive back in the country who plays for Iowa, uh, Cooper DeJean, who's a magnificent player, and I think has been named the defensive back of the year in the Big Ten. And also the return specialist. He's a great punt returner. But anyway, those guys certainly. Mason Graham is a wonderful player. He's all Big Ten, just named all Big Ten by the coaches,
Mm-hmm.
and he's gifted. He's gifted inside. He's an Aaron Donald kind of player, and I mean that's a high regard for
Takes
him.
two people to block him, Coach. You got to block him with two people.
Yeah, yeah. Mike Stainstro's been a great leader
Oh
for
my
us.
God.
Mike is first. I get that right, Mike, but he's been magnificent. Number
Yeah.
0,
Yep, it's
and
Mike.
he brings a lot to the party. Brings leadership, commitment, and then gifted athlete. But he's been great. You know, I love number 1. Number 1's got some more football to play for us.
Hey, how about this kid, Michael Barrett, Coach? He's the all-time winningest player in Michigan history. He came in as a dual threat quarterback and has played almost every position on the defense besides defensive line.
Yeah. He's not a big guy.
I mean that's like Eric Mays to me. That's like an Eric Mays walk on captain, unbelievable player.
Yeah, he's been a great leader and productive guy. Now the other linebacker is really good player, Colson. I mean, really good. Now the best defensive player in the conference is the linebacker or the best tackler, number 1 tackler in the conference is the linebacker at Iowa.
Yeah.
So Higgins. So we're going to see some more great players. I think the punter was magnificent for us in that game, in the last couple games. But he's young; he's got a way to go.
Yeah.
But I think certainly, of course, the guys with the ball get the most notice. But Zach certainly should be given highly regarded, and we'll go on after his knee repair to have a really really good pro career, I would expect. But Corum and JJ, Corum is
next level.
Corum, gets those, scores those touchdowns and gets the opportunity certainly when he's in there. But he's great, and then JJ, I mean, and Will Johnson, I think those guys are all really extraordinary guys. Will Johnson still has more football to play for us.
Yeah.
And the same thing with our receiver, but our tight ends are special kids too. And the kid who came from from Indiana really contributed.
Nice tight end screen, nice wide delay.
And this Colson, Colton Lovelace, and he's been special. But those guys are great. But those guys are still coming. They got a lot to do. But certainly, JJ and Corum are two of the greatest players to ever play at Michigan. My estimation.
So it's funny because
and I don't want to crown those other guys too early, but they continue to progress. Special guys.
Well, Coach, Junior Colson, 11 total tackles, 7 solos. Rod Moore, 5.
Rod Moore, that interception.
And then he comes out and says, "I called game." Like you're playing pickup hoops, and then you shoot it in somebody's face and call game. He said, "I called game." So that was pretty sweet. That's an unbelievable quote. So yeah, those are some things I wanted to touch on in Michigan. Now, the last question I got for you, Coach, and I don't know this question about you because it dawned on me when we got the interception and we were about to take a knee. I was running out of the stadium to get out of the stadium and go to my car and beat traffic. And all 100,000 people are running to rush on the field. Have you ever got caught under a pile, like a game-winning touchdown got caught under? It's awful. It is the absolute worst.
Dangerous. No, I have not. I I think it was, a couple of times, Ohio State, my junior year, they rushed the field. They beat us 14-12. But we got out of there. And, they pretty good
Okay.
security. And they escorted us out of there. Senior was 10-10
Yeah.
tie. So we walked off, everybody in a daze. And, everybody feels like, the old kissing your sister thing. It's just, it's not fulfilling. It's just
Yeah.
incomplete, and a feeling that shouldn't be over. Somehow it should be decided now. Of course, they've changed that, so now there's a way to decide these things. And then my sophomore year, we won. I think the fans did come on on the field, but we pretty much got out of there.
Yeah.
We didn't. The kids hang around more. We pretty much got out of there. We ran off the field pretty fast because we were expected to be up there because he was going to talk to us right away and sing the fight song. We wanted to be inside for all that stuff, so we got up the tunnel pretty fast. So it was a little bit different. But yeah, they say the Big Ten's going to fine us for that, but I think we'll it's just my
Well,
God.
the
My
one
God,
thing that made me happy, Coach, is I haven't seen any videos of any of our guys going to rub it in Ohio State guys' face, because that always pisses me off. That some dude from the stands comes and starts talking mess to these guys that just played in the game. It's not good for anybody, because it could be bad for that fan.
No, wrong to
Yeah,
do. After a guy's done playing, you got to respect the players. That's
yeah. I
stupid.
was just
And guys who don't understand and probably sometimes inebriated do that.
yeah,
That's stupid. It's not right, and they have to respect the players. And I understand that there's they get excited and everything else like that. That's what I mean. We don't. There's no hate involved in this thing.
yeah,
They talk about hate in Michigan and they started that. Woody started those guys up north, but Woody also said, he told John Hicks, if any of the guys get in trouble and you can't find an Ohio State guy, find a Michigan guy because they're just like us and they'll
yeah,
help you. So there's a great amount of respect there, And then I understand the Ohio State coach took umbrage to what Morgan said after the game about the defensive backs. These guys should not get in. Coaches should not get in verbal. This is kids, and sometimes they say the wrong thing. That probably is the wrong thing to say, and not right. That they're not tough, but because they are tough. But the coaches shouldn't overreact to that and get in verbal. D'Antonio should never have argued with Mike
yeah,
Hart, and then started that thing. Started that hate thing at Michigan State. That was dumb and not good, not productive. And you don't have to hate your opponent to play hard against them and beat them. That shouldn't be the way it is. You want to respect, have healthy amount of fear, so you're ready to go, anxious to play, and do your very best out there. And then between the whistle, try to beat him and your opponent, your guy across from you, or the guy you're assigned to block or cover, or when you run the ball, you do your very best to win and win the game by executing and playing hard, but respect your opponents. And we don't hate each other. Ohio State's a great university. Michigan State's a great university. So let's cut the crap on that stuff. Really, I'm sick of it. Really, and there's too much of that.
Well,
Too much.
Well, Coach, moving on, something we totally even skipped over. I totally forgot to say something to you about this. What about first program in the history of college football to 1,000 wins?
Yeah, that was spectacular. That's great. That was a great accomplishment, and it was overshadowed by the press overplaying that cheating thing because it provides no. I told you, provides. I'll go into it again. Provides no great advance. Quantify
Yeah,
it for me. Tell me what it means. 6 points, 3 points, 1 point, no points, no points. Cut it out. Now you got to follow the rules, and you should scrupulously be honest about the rules. And if you make a mistake, you violate the rules. You're honest about it, and then you pay the price. Period. But there are misdemeanors. There's felonies. But that said, I think that all in all, it's just a great. College football is wonderful, and it's great fun, and we're really lucky to be experience these things because I told you the great thing about these games is you're going to experience highs and lows, and you're going to be depressed, and you're going to be excited, then you're going to be exuberant, so you're going to have elation, and then you're going to be devastated. You're going to go through all that. And where do you do that within 2 hours? 2 hours, and the players experience that, and certainly the fans do because of their connection with their university, and that's a great thing. That's part of the enthusiasm for life, the passions, the fun things. But we also got to keep it in perspective.
Well, well, did
You
you
know,
see, Coach? Just talking about how great college football was last Saturday. Did you see Alabama's Milroe
oh my
throw it to
gosh,
Bond for the? I mean, that's the Iron Bowl. Like that's just as
yeah,
important.
that down there is very important. And holy cow, what a victory! It's snatching victory out of the jaws of
But
defeat.
did you see how Bond created space in that corner? He ran over there, but he left enough room for the guy to throw to him.
Yeah, he's an unusual talent, that guy, and he's getting better all the time.
Yeah,
Boy,
Milroe's
he
good.
doesn't
Yeah,
look fast, but he covers yards so big. He covers but and he's not afraid to throw the ball. He's really gifted, and it's taken him a while. He's moving along, and Saban's getting him
yeah.
there, and that'll be an interesting game, the Georgia
Oh,
Alabama game,
abs-
and Georgia with one loss probably should be in on the basis, of their resume and what they've done this year and their portfolio. But Alabama would be hard to keep out then, and then you got two SEC teams again. Instead, right now you're looking at ACC, Pac-10, SEC, and a Big Ten team, which is probably a nice mix because you want to see all conferences represented across the country, and that's a good thing.
well,
And sections of the country too.
well. If anybody out there is worried about the Big Ten, just look what Jonathan Smith just did. A quarterback that went to Oregon State now became the head coach of his program, left there to go to Michigan State and compete in this conference against all the great teams in the Big Ten and everybody that's coming to the Big Ten. I think it's a good time to be in the Big Ten. I mean, if that's any indicator, leaving your alma mater to go to a new conference, it's pretty cool to see.
Yeah, yeah. He's got a great resume. He's done a marvelous job there. He's made him extraordinarily competitive. Yeah, obviously does a good job recruiting. I think he's going to bring six of his coaches with him. Uh, he's going to keep the man who is uh, Barnett. Has he been the interim coach?
Yep,
He apparently is going to be able to. They're going to keep him on the staff, which is
smart.
good. He's been there. He's been there 18
Yeah.
years, and the kids all love him. And it's you need that in a transition, and uh, and he's going to be paid well. He's going to be paid whatever $7.5 million a year. So he's got a challenge up there right now. He needs to get out there and recruit, understand what's going on in the Midwest, where to go. It's a different atmosphere. But my sense is I watched him on TV. He's an articulate, enthusiastic young guy. He was a walk-on player, and so he has respect for knows how to work hard. Uh, so I think he's going to be another one of the great young coaches in the league, and there are a lot of them. Coach Fickle and him and Ryan Day's a young man.
The
Uh,
guy at Minnesota.
there's PJ is a young, enthusiastic guy who's probably devastated. Rule's a young man. We got some young, enthusiastic, talented coaches in the league, and there'll be a new one at Indiana, and Franklin's done a magnet. He won 10 games at Penn State. Penn State just hasn't been able to beat us. Now with this thing with the 12 teams, that'll be out of the equation for him too, because he won't be playing Michigan, Ohio State every year now with the change up, but he'll be playing SC and some of those teams out there, and that won't be easy. But his life changes a little bit because he's taken criticism, but he's a fine young coach and done a great job there. And so the guy at Northwestern has done an extraordinary job. 7 wins over there. Wasn't that long ago with the hazing thing where they lost Coach Fitzgerald, who was a fine coach, made a mistake apparently, and then lost his job over it. That doesn't diminish that he was an excellent coach. He made a mistake and lost his job, but this young guy has done a wonderful job. He's 35 years old. I don't know how old he's. He's a young man, and so that's gonna be interesting. They're gonna go to a nice bowl, and he did a great job. I don't know if you watched any of their games, but they were an exciting team and they got some skill.
Well, they got the kid from
And
Clemson that Clemson gave up on, and he had a hell of a year this year.
and this guy brought the kids together. And so he's obviously a talented guy. And if you listen to him talk, I like what he says and how he carries himself, conducts himself. So that's good for the league. We don't need Northwestern as a doormat. They're a competitive, a wonderful school academically, and that's great.
Well, there's two things. There's also I want to talk about the college football playoff. I know we still have championship games to go.
Well, we got to talk about Iowa. We get way
the Pac-10 12.
We're getting way ahead of ourselves. Oh, you're talking about
well, the Pac-10 Pac-12 championship will say a lot, and Oregon's pretty good.
First of all, it'll be the last one. It'll be the last one, and that's one of the reasons I think the coach left Oregon State. They have no league, and where were they going to go? Washington State and Oregon State have been left out. And that's probably not fair, but that's, big time college athletics now. It's about money and television revenue and how many people watch on Saturday, what kind of audience you command, unfortunately. And nobody commands a higher audience than Michigan right now, by the way, highest rated program
well, also,
in terms of television.
And I'll just say another thing. I mean, college football rankings came out tonight. We're number 2. Hopefully, I think, just because of this reason, watching Florida State now as a backup quarterback, they had trouble scoring on Florida. That was a tough, very close game for them. So the number one,
they play Louisville, and If Louisville beats them, they'll be eliminated. Yep. And then next one up is Oregon. Then Ohio State 6, right? And then Texas 7, Alabama 8. Alabama beats Georgia. Georgia will stay in, but Alabama have a heck of a case for coming in, and that could happen. That could very well happen. Now Georgia and Washington's is a toss-up too. Oregon and Washington. I mean, that's a toss-up. Our game is not fait accompli. I mean, that 22 points is crazy. There are no 22 points in a championship game. That spread is nuts. I mean, not the way they play defense. And this guy is a wonderful coach, and he has been around.
Coach,
and he knows what he's doing.
I was just going to get to the Big Ten championship game. Obviously, we play Iowa. They won 10 games. The Iowa fan base has called for the offensive coordinator's head because it was Kirk Ferentz' son. They fired. Yeah, they fired.
He's done after the last game. But
think about winning 10 games, and he's winning them. I mean, they're winning close games, coach, and getting fired. That's a crazy thing that's going inside their locker room. And then they're just struggle to score points overall. I mean,
but here's what he does. This is the old football. This is Schembechler football. This was Saban's football. Saban has evolved to the more modern era. You play great defense. You kick. And you run the ball. That's what you do. That was the equation. That's how you won. You coach like heck. You had tough kids. You rush the ball. You play defense. The reason you run is you practice against yourself. And if your defense can stop the run, you can win. Because people didn't pass as proficiently as they do now. And they didn't have the short passing attacks that are equivalent to a run. And they didn't get the ball out in space like they do now. So, and then kick and have a great kicking game. That was it. That's Woody Hayes' football. That's the football that was a winning equation. Now, that has changed as the game has evolved, but that's what Iowa does now. They have a great, great kicker. They're the best punter in the country. I mean, the guy can dominate a game by changing field position on you. And they have a great defense, a wonderful defense. I think they're only giving up 12 points a game. We're number 1 in the country. I think they're number 4. Points against the score, which is the most meaningful statistic, defensive statistic there is. Points allowed, and then they're going to run the. They've really struggled on offense. I think they're scoring 18 points a game. We're scoring almost 40.
Yeah.
So there's a difference there. And then we have a great defense. So on paper, it looks like, it should be our advantage, but we're going to play a game. And like Coach Farron says, I've been here 25 years and we've won some of these games we're not supposed to. And if we are not at our best, if we are not ready, if we are psychologically not back from the elation and the afterglow and the wonderful feeling that the Ohio State victory gave us, if the kids are not back and focused and they don't come ready to play and be at their very best, and from the first play let those guys know we are Michigan, we are here to win, then it could be a very difficult evening. And we had to be, they're number 16 in the country, and they earned that. And anybody, I'm going to repeat again, you get 10 victories in college football today. That is a wonderful accomplishment. And I think, Robbie, they've won 4 of those games when they've scored under 20 points, which is remarkable, which means they have, I think I looked at it, they have 2 first-teamers on defense. Now, we have 8 all Big Ten. These are chosen by I looked at just before we went on. Now, of course, Higgins, and I talked about Cooper, DeJean, the great defensive back, who was voted the best defensive back in the conference, and also the best special teams player in the conference, is a kick returner, return specialist. So they have 2 guys that made the first team. I think we also had 2, Mason Graham, Will Johnson. But then we had, on the first 3 Big Ten, the first 3 teams, first, second, and third, we have 8 players. They had no more than that named, but they had 6, I think, players. Let me see, 6 players honorable mention. So they have a great cast on defense, and they play together, and they make plays, and they count on the defense to score. So if we turn the ball over and let the defense score, that's a great advantage to them. And we got, rightfully so, we got a lot of acknowledgement. They've named the offense hasn't come out yet. Rightfully so, we got acknowledged in a conference that possessed 4 great defenses, 4 of the best in the conference, in the country: Michigan, Ohio State, Penn State, and Iowa. And they're all the top 4 against the score, I think. I think that's how it goes down. And so we have 4 great defenses in this conference, and Iowa is one of them. And they are proud of that. They rely on great defense. They have confidence in it, and they actually run the ball less than we do. They rush the ball 59% of the time, pass it 41%. We currently are rushing the ball 61% of the time and passing at 39%, and we've been 60-40 under Jim's regime for the last 3 or 4 years, which is the right equation. We run the ball, and we're going to run it, and we're going to get stopped for 2 or 3 yards sometimes in the first quarter, second quarter, but then we wear them down. And they get beat up over time, and then we start to bring bigger plays.
Well, you saw Corum break. He breaks one at late third quarter, early fourth quarter every game because
that was the first play after the injury.
Yeah, I know.
First play after, and then he ran out of there 25 yards in a great run where he bounced outside, and that was a magnificent run, and I think they came together over that injury. They were together and they were playing together, but they took a breath and they said, "Let's win it for Zach." And I think that was part of the motivation. It's a very close-knit team, and a team that's remarkably resilient. That has been through tremendous adversity, more than any team I've seen, and come out the other end. And they are on a mission. They've been to the playoffs before and lost in the first round twice, beaten badly by Georgia, and then in a close game where they threw too many turnovers, too many interceptions against TCU. So it's unfinished business for them. But to get there, the next step is the University of Iowa in the Big Ten championship game. Now, we won 4. We're proud to say we won 44 championships, and we want to make it 45. It is a wonderful accomplishment, and we need to do that to go to the next.
Well,
step. I don't think with one loss they'd take us out at this point, but it depends what happens. There's a lot of different scenarios. It depends what
Well,
happens.
I don't think that's even in the realm of reality. I think that
You
I
never
think Coach
know. I mean, you
Harbaugh
never know.
wants to stand on that podium and get the championship trophy handed to him by the Big Ten commissioner on Saturday.
That'll be an interesting dynamic,
Yes.
and hopefully everybody will be respectful, and gracious. I do think the penalty, and I've said it publicly, the penalty was too severe. He was not connected in any way. It gave us no great advantage, and I've talked about it. You can say whatever you want. Now we should follow the rules scrupulously. We break a rule, it's wrong. We're going to follow the
Well,
rules,
and I
and we shouldn't have made that mistake. There were rogue guys involved there, and it was wrong. And for that, we are guilty, and we admit that, and we're going to fix it. But I don't think it gave us any great
no.
advantage. I just don't. I mean, I don't think I know too much about the game. I think if you know the inner workings of the game, it doesn't. And it's just then they change. Everybody changes their
Well,
signals. So
it's
if you
something
know,
everybody does, and you can either take the information or use it. You have to decide last second if you use it or not. It's impossible to quantify. It's
so what these guys did last year is, of course, Purdue and Ohio State, they gave TCU all the information about our
yeah,
signs. So that's kind of scouting. That's in a sense no different than having your person scout. They took their other person's experience, their game experience, looking at us, and then they provided that information to somebody out of the
yeah,
conference out of the
it's
conference
insane.
that might have played. Now that let's say that played a role in
Yeah.
getting us defeated. So what's the difference? Is that sportsmanlike, or is that good sportsmanship, or conference loyalty? I don't know. I think first of all, I'm going to go back to it. I don't think it provides any great advantage. And anybody who knows what they're doing changes their sign. They got those five guys over there, different T-shirts, holding up signs,
Coach,
different guys giving signals. It's just
well, you,
you
well, you
can't do
got
it. It's unreliable
you got
information.
first quarter adjustments. You got halfway through second quarter adjustments. You got halftime adjustments. You got halfway through third quarter. You're making adjustments the whole game. You're changing signs the whole game. You're saying, hey, we were
Yeah.
saying, we were calling cover three, solid, and now we're calling it, purple. It doesn't matter. You're constantly playing. It's a game. It's football is a game.
It's a, and it evolves, and there's a flow to the game, and then you start doing something well, so you go back to it, and then all of a sudden you see what they're doing, you start to understand what they're doing, and you know where it might be vulnerable, then you want to attack where they're vulnerable, and you want and it's always the case, you want to take away what they do well, so you better cover those receivers.
Well, Dion said it best.
And
Primetime said it best. He said, they can tell you we're running a sweep right at you. If you don't stop that sweep, it don't matter if you know the play or not.
Well, in the old days when you played us, you don't stop the off tackle play, you're not going to beat Michigan.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Period. We ain't going to pass the ball, But that's football's changed. But so when you have a great quarterback, the only way to stop him is get pressure on him, because you sit back in the zone, he's going and you block, he gets good coverage, he's going to pick you apart. So you got to get pressure on him. Now, if you have an average quarterback, then you don't want to give up the weak side flat or the front side flat or to blitz, or try to go man to man on a great receiver. So we recognize that Marvin Harrison, can beat you single handedly. And he was great against us. He made great plays against us. And so we decided not to, I think they had a good plan to mitigate what they do well. And then we put enough pressure on the kid that he did made some errant throws, because he's a developing quarterback.
But
He didn't. This is his first year
Coach, what
starting.
about Marvin Harrison's catch when he's getting dragged down one handed?
Yeah, he's
Unbelievable.
magnificent. Yeah, he's CeeDee Lamb, and I compare our guy to Tyreek Hill, and they're young. They're not there yet. They're physically not developed like those guys. But Marvin Harrison easily could be the first guy picked in the draft. Now all this stuff. The first quarterbacks, they're going to take these guys and they're going to test them every way from sundown to Sunday, every way from Sunday. They're going to do everything they can to find out who they are. They're going to interview them. They're going to try to figure out, pick their brain apart. They're going to try to see what their attitude is, who they are, what their personal. They'll do everything. They're going to assess them in every way they can, and that's true with every position. And they go to Indianapolis and do all that stuff. So it evolves. It starts to change. It's not just based on the college performance. They want to know the kid's background,
Well,
uh, his commitment. They need to know a commitment. His
Coach,
commitment.
some crazy things I want to talk to you about the Big Ten championship because I think it's going to probably mirror what we saw in 2021. I think it's going to be 42-3 again. That's
Well,
honestly what I think,
that's what
and that's
that's
my
what you think.
opinion. That's what my
That's what you
that's
hope.
no.
Well, they're gonna play
That's
the
what I
game.
think. Vegas, the line in the first half is that even money on Iowa even scoring a single point. The over
All
under
right,
is
here's the
point
here,
five.
if we are careless and we turn the ball over, then all bets are off, and that can happen. If they force turnovers, we throw interceptions, they get a pick six. We played TCU. He threw two pick sixes. That was a difference in the game. And we fumble the ball. The ball has points on it. It bounces funny. They get a big kick return from this Cooper guy. Is Cooper DeJean? That could change. So we got to come prepared to play. If we go there and we play mistake-free
Yep.
football, and we do what Michigan does. We run the ball effectively, and we make the ball. We throw the ball, but JJ makes good choices, and we play to our strength. And then we play the kind of defense we played, which is swarming defense. One of the things we could do is we close on the ball.
Yeah.
Even Harrison, when he got the ball, he was tackled fast. Except for that one time when they ran that pattern across, when they pulled him, dragged him across
For a touchdown. Yeah,
him across,
one touchdown.
for a touchdown. We just didn't. We were. I think we were covered a man to man. We couldn't run with him, but our defensive guys close. If they close on the ball carrier, and they tackle, and they put pressure on this passer, and with this kid, they should not have to. This guy's completing 47% of his passes. JJ's completing 75% of his passes. I mean, there's a marked difference there. And their average pass play is 5 yards. So this has not been a productive offense. Does that mean you can't play great defense, kick the ball well, get a couple turnovers, and win? They can, and that's got to be their plan. That's got to be their plan. But they'll come up with a good plan to defense us. And Ferentz will come up with something to try to move the ball. There could be some trickery, some trick plays, things like that could catch us. We got to be prepared to play. We got to be healthy, and we got to be prepared. We got to be beat up after that last game. We got to be a little bit beat up. Now they just beat Nebraska by right at the end of the game, actually. And we know Nebraska's been getting better, but we know they're not the most formidable team in the Big Ten. And then they lost to Minnesota team by 12-10. And Minnesota, of course, was handled, by us at Ohio State, really, really pretty much beat. We both beat Minnesota badly. But if comparative scores worked, we'd all be rich, right? They played them this game. We beat them by 40. We beat them by 50, and they only beat them by 2. We're going to beat them by 38. But you can't do that. They're playing for the championship. It's a championship game. Championship. They didn't get there by default. They are on their way there, and they're proud. There's a proud program, and that's a proud coach, and they're going to prepare, and they're going to be ready to go. And they did not. They clinched 2 weeks ago, so they didn't have to win at Nebraska to win that side of the conference. For a long time, it looked like nobody wanted to win that side, but Iowa has emerged as the victor with 10 victories, 2 losses, and they will be prepared. They bring a great kicking game, 2 of the best defensive players in the game, with a great supporting cast, other players that are good. They have not moved the ball well. They have a running back that's run at a 47-yarder, and he's run the ball pretty well. He's gained about 500 yards. The quarterback has struggled, but I've seen lesser talent, and we've all seen it, beat better talent. Morale is to the physical as 4-1. If we are not mentally ready to play, prepared, ready to go, as excited as we were for all the previous games. Now, one of the things we've proven is that we can get up for every game, and that's the great challenge in sports. That's why it's so hard to go through a season undefeated, because you're always going to have a situation where you play a team with lesser ability, not as gifted, not as well equipped as you, but they rise up. And then all of a sudden, particularly when you're at an away game in the Big Ten, all the students get fired up, and then the kids start playing at a higher level. So we gotta demonstrate to them fast that we are Michigan, we are champions, we're here to win a game. And I don't like to say we don't say the word punch them. We don't punch, but we got to hit them and make them aware that we're a physical team and we're here and execute on offensive defense. We're going to get everybody to the ball. We've got to tackle in the open field. That's one of the most important things in football now, open field tackling, because the ball gets out in space, and they have guys who can run. Don't think they don't. And we got to do all those things.
So,
and we got to have a great week of preparation. Now we're going to have our
all
head
that
coach
being
back.
said, what's your prediction? Or you don't do predictions?
I'm not doing predictions. Look, I told you what I think. If Michigan does what they've done throughout the season, play with great passion and morale, play together, execute, play at a high level, be physical, break tackles, Corum break tackles. JJ, make good choices, no interceptions, no turnovers. The defense, swarm to the ball. Mason Graham and Grant and Jenkins, all those wonderful guys inside. And then the guys outside, Harrell and those guys, get to the passer and put pressure on them. Give them a bad situation. Give them a bad play on first down. So if we force them into passing situations, they're not going to beat us passing. They're not. They don't have that kind of team. They're not built like that. So we got to give them a bad play and force them into passing situations, and then we can run our packages in and out of there, and then I think we'll be fine. I'm confident. I'm confident we're going to win, but we're going to play the game. The game won't, not going to be on the basis of what I feel, what the pundits say. Games will be played on the field, and it'll be decided there. Certainly, we should beat Iowa. Everybody expects us to beat Iowa. But, the upset is in the mind of the favorite. We got to be ready. We got to be ready.
Absolutely. Well,
yeah. And they travel well. They're going to have a ton of those damn windbreakers with Iowa, tackling 12 Iowa across the back. They'll be bringing their tractors in. They're starting today. They're going to Indiana, and they're going to come right to the cornfields, and they got a wonderful fan base. And they are committed guys, people. They love that team, and the Hawkeyes. They love the Hawkeyes, and I would assume the Michigan faithful will be there, and they'll be loud, and they're enthusiastic right now. This team has captured the imagination of the fans because they have come through so much, and they played at such a high level. But also, these kids, they're resilient in how they conduct themselves. They've been great.
Absolutely.
They've been great. And I have great admiration for this team. I think it's a wonderful team, wonderful group of kids. Whatever happens, I admire them. I admire how they've conducted themselves, who they are. I spoke to them, and they were great. They paid attention, had their feet on the floor. Nobody had earbuds in. Maybe they wanted to, but they paid attention. They were kind to me. They came up and introduced themselves to me. They caught me when they saw me. They said hello and appreciated what I said. And so I like them. I like who they are. I like them as people. And, I've always liked all the Michigan kids, of course, with my bias. But I like these guys. We have good kids, and they've demonstrated that. The character reveals itself in how they play. That whole team. When that Zenter got that, the whole team went out. The whole team, I haven't seen that. I have not seen a whole team come out before. They're all spread across there in a line for their captain and their leader. That was a sort of remarkable testament to him, but it also shows you the cohesiveness of those.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Team. So I like that. That's
good
we
stuff. Obviously have a special team this year. Great kids. I appreciate you sharing that with us, being able to speak to the team and the feedback you got back from them. Everybody outside is, enamored with this team and how we're playing this year. So to get a little inside scoop like that is always nice.
Well, they've been degraded. They've been demeaned. They're called cheaters. People say they won because they cheated. That's not why they won. They wanted the best team, and they've demonstrated that over the last 3 years, last 3 games. There's some sort of vindication, I think, and it demonstrates that this scouting thing didn't. I want I want the Big Ten to quantify the advantage for me. Please tell me if it made a touchdown. Nothing. Well, they can't because it's
Well,
impossible
it's
to do.
obvious no matter what happens to this team, what no matter what adversity comes, it just brings them closer together. Like that. That is one thing that you can just tell every single time
They
after a game or something bad happens. The guys, you can hear it in their voice. They're just getting tighter and closer together. It's like it's like Band of Brothers.
they have a purpose. They have a sense of purpose. They have a great esprit de corps. They have a plan. They are ambitious. They're ambitious to win, and they're ambitious to go all the way. They have goals, and they've done everything that's required to get there. It appears that all the elements that they need, they have. Good kicking. The offensive line has been patchwork at times, but we have enough depth there that we'll be okay. The defense has been the best in the country. JJ has been extraordinary, in my opinion. Just a great, gifted guy. Corum, we talked about all these guys, the receivers, tight ends. Those matchups are difficult. Now, Iowa's used to be linebacker. U was Penn State. Now Iowa's tight end
Yeah,
U with Laporta and all these kids they have on Kittle. I mean, they're turning out, and they have a good one now. They have a sophomore who's a good one right now.
yeah.
So that, and those are tough matchups. Those kids like our kids. So you got a 6'5", 6'6" guy, 260, 50, 60 pounds, runs like crazy. Put a linebacker on him, they can't run
Yeah.
with him. Put a defensive back on them, there's a physical mismatch there. It's a 50-50 ball. They win every time because they're just bigger. And so they utilize the tight end, and they have a real good one who's a sophomore there right now. So
Well,
that'll be interesting. So I talked about we have everything. We have great coaching. Everything's been put in place, but that just gives you the opportunity, and you have to make good on the opportunity, and that's done on the field in Indianapolis. Now they've been there before. Iowa's been there before, so it's nothing new. So they know how to prepare. It's always been difficult to get ready for the next game after the Ohio State game because that is an emotionally draining game. All the fans got to feel the same way. But now it's Tuesday, and we better be back. We better be back and looking forward and doing what we have to do to get prepared and win. And I'm certain the coaches have them back. And I think their leaders said that. They said, first thing they said, this is a great victory. We're really happy, but we have unfinished business. We're
yeah,
not done.
absolutely. Well, we're looking forward to seeing the Wolverines, get this opportunity Saturday. I know we'll all be cheering for them. One thing I did want to say before we close out is just a shout out to my boy Brandon Graham. Just became the most all-time regular season player for the Philadelphia Eagles. Has the most starts for regular season for the Philadelphia Eagles. He's had an unbelievable career. It's been a pleasure to watch him, and then had an unbelievable play against the Bills last weekend to seal the game. And I love him how he talks at the coin toss. I don't know if people have seen it out there. He lost the coin toss, and they go, "We'll receive." He goes, "It doesn't matter," and then they proceed to win the game. So just a shout out to him.
He's a great leader. He's a great leader at Michigan. He was the only guy on one-on-one drills that could beat Jim
Yeah,
Harbaugh. So that portended. There was a prediction of
yeah,
greatness, and he also was the Man of the Year for the Philadelphia Eagles and nominated as the NFL Man of the Year for the Walter Payton Award for the good work he's done around
yep,
Philadelphia. So he's more than a ball player. He's a special guy. He's got a wonderful personality. Robbie's his friend. He doesn't forget anybody. And it's been a pleasure to watch him. And he gets pressure on the passer, and he's been a great leader there. That's why they asked him to come back.
yeah.
They didn't want him to retire. And certainly he has a number of years in, and he's paid the price. But he's done a great job. But that Man of the Year, and to be nominated as the Walter Payton Man of the Year, is of special significance.
Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you, Coach, talking to me again. It was fun. Got
All
anything
right.
else about
Well,
the Big Ten championship before we sign off? Any last words?
the last words. Well, we're going to show up there, and we'll be there in Indianapolis, and we look forward to a great contest, and hopefully we will prevail and win by at least one. That's what we
All
hope.
right. Well, good talking to you, Coach. Look forward to seeing you later this weekend, watching the Big Ten championship with you.
All right, great. Love you, brother. It was a great time. We had 99 people watch the
Yeah,
last time.
right about
We're
yeah,
making
getting
progress.
progress.
We're building. We're building an audience.
We'll get better each time. We either get better or you get worse. A wise man once said.
When you run, hey, what do you do when you run a marathon? You take the first step. We're going to build and build. We're going to keep going, getting better and better. Never stay the same. We'll get
Amen.
better. We're trying to get
All
better.
right. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Yep.
for watching. All
Bye.
right, brother. Bye.